Picture this, you're a crypto whale who just landed on the opportunity of a lifetime, a $100 million deposit straight into your wallet. You're beyond happy, that's generational wealth, but it doesn't last long. The community you're part of wants to strip you of 98% of your newfound wealth. How can they do this? Why would they do this? What happens in the following months has been called a ticking bomb and a dangerous precedent. The community is rallying to vote against you, the anonymous whale. A vote no means you'll be left alone. A yes means more than 100 million will be taken from you, and a clock is ticking. You have to convince the community and reverse the vote before it's too late. So how did you get here? It all starts on March 2nd, 2021. A new crypto platform by the name of Juno is being built. The purpose is to help the popular Cosmos crypto network run smart contracts. The Juno network is intended to be community ran through what's called a DAO, which is important, and I'll explain that in a minute. Because in order to have a community, you need holders. Juno decided to use what's called an airdrop, simply depositing tokens to holders of Cosmos for free. This way, the real community will be in control. The rules were simple. Step 1, stake the Cosmos token outside of a centralized exchange, so you can't use something like Binance or Coinbase. Step 2, get paid at launch. But there was a stipulation as to not make anyone too rich. There was a maximum of 50,000 tokens airdropped per wallet address, but you ended up with a whole lot more. How is this possible? Is it even legal? To understand how this happened, we need to first understand why any of this matters. The Juno network uses a decentralized autonomous organization, or DAO, method of operating. In real terms, this means that one token gives you one vote when members need to agree on something. Sounds great, right? It's like that one man, one vote decision made in the 1960s, but updated to one token, one vote for our digital world. This is needed because there's no central authority on Juno. Members hold the power in proportion to how much of the network they actually own. And this is okay, except when one person owns a huge chunk of a network. Now, not every blockchain works in this way. In fact, none of the major coins like Bitcoin or Ether could get into a situation where members can simply vote to strip away millions of tokens. Right. So how many tokens did you, the whale, have? Somehow 2.5 million. The community was in an uproar against you, saying that you must have gamed the airdrop for your own benefit. But you don't feel that way. This is your rightful money. The community didn't care and quickly put together Proposal 4, a vote to remove the majority of your funds, something that's never been done in the world of crypto. The proposal asks members to vote on reducing your wallet from 2.5 million Juno tokens worth as much as $120 million to just 50,000. But why? The big issue is you single-handedly hold enough tokens to make up half the quorum to pass votes by yourself. And given your massive supply, you could personally wipe out the entire token's liquidity at any time, crashing the price down to zero. Why you would do this to your own money, I'm not sure, but you have the network in the palm of your hand. So facing a $100 million loss, what did you, the mysterious whale, have to say about this situation? Not a lot, actually. At least at first. The days until the vote closes are rapidly passing. Suspicion from the community as to who you are is growing. The pressure is on you. You must make a move. So you reach out to a member of the Juno core team who goes by Wolf Contract. You state that you're a fund representing dozens of individuals. It's not just you, and you don't have any intentions to harm the project. Why would you? This is all your money. Wolf Contract then tweets this information, thankfully without disclosing your identity. The community begins to calm, and the vote is finally in. A resounding no. You get to keep your 100 million, ensuring you and your family are wealthy forever. You shuffle around some funds, which does cause some slippage and token price changes, but nothing that doesn't recover. However, things take a turn for the bizarre when Wolf Contract completely changes his tone, now saying that you are a dark spot on the community that must be cleaned, that you're damaging and draining the network, even being called a Japanese Ponzi scheme. What? It's turning into the biggest game of Hunt the Whale since Captain Ahab sharpened his harpoon, and thanks to the new drama, another proposal is drafted, Proposal 16, to put an end to this once and for all, taking all of your funds. Once again, you're back on the offensive, and you need to act fast. You need to get the community on your side. Now, speaking of community on your side, check out the description to join my exclusive investor community. For less than a Netflix subscription, we offer classes and tools to grab control of your own finances. You get access to everything I personally invest in right when it happens, trade signals, and the most helpful investor community on the freaking planet. We have coaching every single day. All you need to do is grab a spot, link down in the description. But getting the Juno community on your side is tough. There's a conflict of interest. If your 100 million is burned, then the community benefits thanks to the lower supply. So of course they would want to vote against you. They're going to lean that way. You decide to write an article refuting all the malicious claims. You reveal once again that it's not just you, but a fund. In fact, you manage the money of more than 30,000 individuals. A vote against you is actually a vote against 30,000 community members. You still don't reveal who you are or your company name, but you do state that you won't use your power to vote in this decision as a show of good faith, but it's too late. The community has lost trust, and frankly, they want this to be over with. Votes are piling up against you. The outlook is grim. With the clock ticking towards the deadline, the Core 1 Juno team reached out to the community with a very strange request. They asked Proposal 16 to be rejected, the proposal that they set out. They did this because they wanted more time for a clearer way to formulate all of this nonsense. But the vote was already in action. More than 80% had already voted yes to remove your funds. Many of the votes began to shift back to a no, but the deadline was nearing, and finally it hit. The vote ended up with a 97% turnout. Insane when you consider that over 60% is a good turnout for a US presidential election. The final verdict? Yes, drain the account. So what now? Sit back while you lose a king's fortune? What do? It turns out nothing. Wolf Contract follows up the vote with a tweet saying, as you know, Prop 16 is a signaling prop that another vote will be needed to actually execute the draining of the account. It's not over yet. You have to fight with everything you have to stop this vote, including giving up your real identity, like the fact that you indeed do operate out of Japan. So you fight. You argue that you're perfectly eligible for the airdrop because if we refer back to the rules, funds must be in a non-custodial wallet, meaning not an exchange like Binance or Coinbase, and the cap is 50,000 tokens per address, not per person, not per entity. You had dozens of addresses, and that's how you're able to rack up more than 2.5 million free tokens worth over $100 million. According to you, you followed the rules, and your clients are owed their money. But is that accurate? What is the definition of a centralized exchange? For this, I need to thank Juno, who did a ton of digging on Medium. He reveals that according to the Payment Services Act in Japan, a crypto asset exchange service is an entity that does any of the following. First, facilitates the purchase or sale of one crypto asset for another. Second, offers intermediary or brokerage services. Third, manages users' money under Rule 1 and 2. Fourth, manages crypto assets for another person. It's hard to argue that this entity doesn't hit these criteria. We have statements from them saying they manage user funds, and we have transaction records showing their clients deposited Bitcoin and received Atom. Things are looking bad, but the vote is still coming, and this is really your last chance. Sure, maybe you don't follow all the rules of who a centralized exchange is, but that's all gray area of the law. What really matters is convincing voters to be on your side. It's time to quit hinting and take off your mask. You reveal yourself to be Japanese software developer Takumi Asano, founder of Game, a gaming blockchain. And more importantly, Game is related to the entities CCN and Debo. For the sake of consistency, we'll refer to the company as CCN for the rest of the video. CCN is a Japanese investment fund built to give access to the Cosmos network, as many exchanges in Japan didn't offer this service. Customers send Bitcoin, and CCN turns that into Cosmos Atom tokens, managing it from there, doing a variety of different things. They attracted 33,000 users, raising a total of $143 million. The way that you, the whale, profit is by getting new deposits into your fund, where you then charge a 10% commission. This means, no, you wouldn't get all of the $100 million airdrop if the community votes in your favor, but you would get a nice, healthy slice. On Ponzi scheme allegations, you cite that users have no problem withdrawing funds, so this can't be a Ponzi. Others disagree. Your rebuttal goes on and on, explaining things like how you didn't sell tokens in order to buy a mansion, and showing conversations from Wolf Contract that Juno repped from earlier. But the question remains, how will the community vote? The days are counting down. Will you be able to keep your rewards? I mean, there's no doubt that this is a strange case. However, with so many new networks cropping up and growing as we speak, it's worth thinking about how similar situations could be avoided. Whether the airdrop was fixed or not, this kind of problem with one member getting a huge number of tokens is always going to lead to fears, suspicions, and arguments. As we've seen, the Juno community is split over this matter, and the biggest thing to take away from this case is it's incredibly difficult to reach consensus on sensitive issues like this. One token, one vote is great in theory, but what if mob justice takes over and people make poor decisions, are vindictive, or act purely out of self-interest? On the one hand, it's true that one whale hoovering up so many tokens could have a disastrous effect on any network. Yet some Juno members correctly point out that delving into someone's private wallet and taking out millions of tokens goes against the principles of these projects, decentralization, and the principles of life in general. So you, the whale with $100 million resting on a single vote, make one last-ditch effort and offer to the community. Vote no on Prop 20, and you will give half of your tokens directly to the Juno community. The other half will go to your clients, the 33,000 people you hold money for. That's really all you can do. Time goes past, and votes roll in. Millions of votes submitted, making the final decision to remove your funds. It's over. Your supply will shrink from 2.5 million tokens to just 50,000. What do you think? Justice served Or is this all unfair? What you think about it? I'd like to quickly introduce you to the whale sponsor of this video, iTrust Capital. With iTrust, you can place your crypto in a Roth retirement account, allowing you to invest and trade crypto, all without having to worry about capital gains taxes. If you use the link in the description, you'll find additional information as well as receive $100 in Bitcoin free for joining. So just grab that link down below, and thanks, SBF.